Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, Dragon Ball edition. Today, we're going to be talking about Dragonball Super manga chapter number 70 with our Dragon Ball expert, Mitch Osso. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm pretty good, sir. Thank you for having me back on. As always, always look forward to a new chapter every time.
Yeah, and we'd be remiss to say that the last chapter that we recorded was a day before the birth of your first son, Cooper. So we haven't had a chance to say it on the L7C podcast. Congratulations on the birth of your son, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Can't wait to get him involved, and hopefully, maybe he'll get invested in Dragon Ball as we, as we go through our little adventure of life together. And we'll see. Maybe he likes it, maybe he doesn't, or who knows what even Dragon Ball would look like in 5, 10, even 20 years. Who knows where we'll be. So maybe he'll take over and do podcasts.
As long as he doesn't like Dragon Ball Kai and doesn't like Super Saiyan Blue, we'll be all right.
I'm going to make sure that is not going to happen. Can't raise my son wrong.
He amended that. But yeah, man, this chapter dropped on 3/18. We thought it was coming out tomorrow, but you were very smart to point out that today is actually Saiyan Day, 3/18. So it made sense for them to drop the chapter. So good on you for realizing that, man.
Well, I only realized it, today because as we pointed out, and what you had noticed was at the end of these chapters, it tells you when the next chapter will drop, and it said last month, March 19th, and it was yesterday actually. I was just on Twitter, and DBZ Hype or DBS Hype, he had posted, that over in Japan, because they have at least like a 12-hour time difference in us, that they were celebrating Saiyan Day, and I didn't really think too much about it. And then, bam, this chapter just shows up a day early. I think it's smart for them to do that. It just, I'm glad that they were able to pump this out a day early on Saiyan Day, and give the fans a little bit something before the weekend. So.
Yeah, right on to that. But Mitch, man, let's just get right into the chapter, go over it, and then we'll just go from there.
Alrighty. So normal chapter breakdown, usually, there's like 3 sections to these chapter formats. This one's kind of divided up more into 2 sections, but the first section constantly goes back and forth between Granolah and then the characters on Beerus's planet. So I guess you could say it's divided into 3, but it's just the first half is, back and forth. So it starts up with Granolah and the dragon on planet Cereal, and he makes the wish that he wants to be the most powerful life form in the universe, right? And that's how the last chapter ended. This chapter starts off with the dragon wishing to clarify the wish with Granolah, asking if he wants to be the strongest life form apart from the gods. And Granolah's like, yes. And can you do that? And the dragon states that yes, it's possible to make you stronger, but he cannot increase the power beyond his potential. And then Granolah wonders if that means that he can be the strongest, and the dragon says no. So at this point, he's told, at no point in your lifetime, at one point, will you be stronger than anyone else in the universe. So this disappoints Granolah. But the dragon points out that it is still possible to become the strongest, but there is a condition in which is needed to be agreed upon by Granolah for him to achieve that. And Granolah agrees to it without even hearing what the condition is, right? So from this point, then it flips over to Beerus' planet, and we see Vegeta practicing learning how to Hakai from Beerus. Now, Beerus is not really paying attention, even though he's aware as to what Vegeta is doing. Vegeta has a rock the size of the palm of his hand, and he makes the rock disintegrate, right? But Beerus is telling him he's using Ki Blast to destroy it, and he's actually not Hakaiing it. He's not destroying it. He's not wiping it away from existence. He just normal breaking of the rock, right? Beerus picks up a rock and he Hakai's it. Now this rock is the same size as the one that Vegeta had, and when Vegeta blew it up, it just kind of poof. That's the the automatopoeia that they got going on here. Poof. When Beerus blows this rock up, I mean it explodes like dynamite. It is a pretty powerful explosion, and that's what Vegeta says is that, or Beerus says is that when you convert something from something to nothing, it will release heaps of energy. And then it pans over to Goku and Whis, training, kind of meditating, trying to perfect Ultra Instinct. And Goku mentions that Beerus is actually training Vegeta, and that Vegeta's going to get stronger his own way, and he's going to continue to polish Ultra Instinct. And back to Beerus and Vegeta, Beerus mentions to Vegeta, the explosion's the real highlight of using destruction, and it never gets old. So then we're back then to Goku and Whis. See what I mean? We're going back and forth between a lot of different characters here. And Goku says, let's see which one of us will be the strongest in the universe. And Whis remarks to him saying, how do you, and I'm going to paraphrase, how do you even know that someone else entirely will not show up? And Goku's like, do you know someone? Whis says, no, I'm just saying. And then he makes the remark then to the Oracle fish, isn't that right? And the fish kind of just shrugs up and he's like, yeah, sure, someone's going to show up soon. Vegeta overhears this, comes over, states that it's going to be him. And then Vegeta demonstrates with a pebble the size of his pointer finger that he has learned to Hakai. And he successfully destroys the rock. Right? And Vegeta says that soon he'll be learning to destroy much larger things. And now we flip back over to Granolah again. And the scene shows that the dragon has dispersed. So Granolah's wish has been granted. The condition of the wish has not been revealed to us just yet. And we see Granolah gone through a physical transformation. He has long hair now. Some people have joked that it looks like Super Saiyan 3, but it's not. Obviously, it's just what he kind of looks like. So then Granolah, testing out his new powers that he has received from the dragon, he picks up a huge boulder. And then he squeezes it with his hand, and then the boulder explodes. And now this boulder, it's huge. It's not the size of the rock that Vegeta had. I mean, this thing is considerable in size, and he blows it up. And it shows a panel of the mountainside that they were on, and the explosion is huge. And then there's a big shock wave that just sent through the surrounding area. And Granolah is impressed by what he just did, but he remarks that explosion, what technique did he just use? So he doesn't even know what he did. He just knows how to do it. So now the Namekian that Granolah lives with, Monato, I believe is how we properly pronounce it. He wakes up from the shock wave and see that the Dragon Ball is gone. And he's starting to freak out. So he believes the worst is about to come. So he walks outside. He sees Granolah floating in midair. And he asks, did you really use the Dragon Balls? And Granolah asks, I have strength. The strength I've gained is unparalleled in the universe. And Monato can't believe that he's the strongest in the universe. And Granolah says, I can now bring down Frieza. And Monato states, there had to be a condition. Don't tell me you accepted it. And so it's like, apparently this dragon has this condition for maybe almost all the wishes. So, because he's aware of the condition, even though he just walked out. And he states, you can't basically be out for, all this power because power brings enemies. And it's kind of true if you think about, every time Goku gets stronger or any of the Z fighters, there's always a stronger enemy. So, yep, he's pretty accurate on that. And Granolah says, "Don't be ridiculous. I'm the greatest in the universe. I can destroy anything that comes my way." And Minato makes a wise statement here and says, "Don't let that power go to your head. You may be the strongest today, but you don't know what might come tomorrow." And it's pretty spot on there. And so Granolah leaves looking for Frieza, and he's going to go and ask Alec, the leader of the Heeters, for his location. So Minato is kind of upset that he's, quote, upended Granolah's life once again. Not sure what that means, but that might be dove into at a later time. And then the chapter shifts back over to Whis and the Z fighters, right? Whis has now felt a disturbance. He is using his staff to observe Granolah, and he notices that Granolah is, super strong, and that this might actually become an issue. In the meantime, though, Goku and Vegeta keep poking at the Oracle Fish to tell them who's the strongest in the universe, when the Oracle Fish will not tell them. And Granolah makes his way over to the Heeters, and then this is where I would say that the second half of the arc begins. So, in 2 days' time, he travels to the Heeters, and he interrupts their dinner and show that they got going on, right? And Granolah asks, "Where's Frieza?" And Alec says, "I mean, really, is this all you really want?" Right? And he says, "We're not going to tell you because you're not the strongest. I mean, you stand no chance against Frieza." Granolah says, "I am the strongest." They kind of mock him, and Alec tells him again, "Get out of here." Granolah still doesn't leave, and they use, or Alex tells Oil, one of his henchmen, kind of a bigger set guy, to get rid of Granolah. Well, Granolah dispatches him pretty easily, flicks him around, dodges his attacks, and just, makes it look cakewalk. And there's a little fight that breaks out, yada, yada, yada. And after Oil has no success at getting rid of Granolah, Alex sends one of his other henchmen. Her name is, where is it? Sorry, I'm still trying to learn these names.
Which one are you looking for?
It's not, okay, so there's Oil, Gas, and then the other one, her name's like Makai.
Yeah,
I think.
Mackie.
If
you want to,
I think
the Heeters, they're all based on like a fuel source.
And I think Mackie is it's a Japanese term for like burning wood, I believe, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So new to my vocabulary, learn something new every day. But Mackie attempts to, stop Granolah and get him kicked out. Granolah uses some maneuvers to get Mackie caught up in her own attack, and then he starts, flinging her around the room, and as she's getting beat up, Gas, which is the other third henchman, who has this kind of badass persona, always like squinty-eyed, serious, looks very powerful, doesn't really do a ton, but we saw Gas kind of take down Granolah whenever he was weak. Gas comes in, cuts the connection between Granolah and Mackie, so that Mackie's not getting beat up all the time, and then Alec stops the fight right there. So we don't get to see a Gas versus Granolah fight, but I think they're saving Gas for a confrontation with someone else later. All right, that's cool. So then they stop fighting, and Alec asks, "How'd you get so strong? What happened?" And Granolah says, "That's not for you to know." Alex says, well, then why should I tell you where Frieza is? Because if you screw up, then the bounty is then going to be on our head. He said, Granolah answers, I used the Dragon Balls. Alex said, okay, I thought so. So your planet does have its own set of Dragon Balls. Then he states that that's all they needed here. They don't know where Frieza is necessarily. Go home, cool off, and we'll be in touch and we'll tell you where. And Granolah says, make it quick. I don't have much time to spare. Alec wishes for him to elaborate on that. And then Granolah tells us what that condition was for his wish. And that is to make Granolah the strongest in the universe. And I'm going to paraphrase on this. The dragon will condense all of the strength that Granolah will have throughout his entire life and condense it down into a single point in his life. And at the cost of reducing his lifespan. So yeah, whatever power he has next year, and then in 2 years, the dragon basically takes all the energy, combines it together, makes it into the present. And he does this for his entire life, in which we find out that his race's average lifespan is 200 years. He's only 50 years old, so that's about 150 years of power accumulation there. And his lifespan is then reduced down to 3 years. So huge power upswing at the cost of basically his entire life. And then the Heeters are looking at him, kind of stunned that he decided to make this agreement. And then Granolah leaves, and the Heeters start talking, and they're wondering if they should just let Granolah go and destroy Frieza. But we find out some interesting stuff, and that the Heeters are actually kind of business partners with Frieza, and that they worked with Frieza to destroy the population on planet Cereal, so then the Heeters could then in turn profit from the planet. So that apparently must be not known news to Granolah that his partner here is one of the reasons why his entire life was, uprooted. But that'll probably be explained or revealed later on. But still, now we learn that Alec actually doesn't want Frieza to be killed by Granolah, because if Granolah is the strongest in the universe, then if he kills Frieza, well, then Granolah is just going to be the person in which they then have to answer to. And they don't have that, partnership like they do with Frieza. But they also want to kill Frieza themselves so then they can take control of his army. And so on and so forth. And Granolah figures out a plan to use Goku and Vegeta to get rid of Granolah, because they watched the tape on 7-3. They know how strong Goku and Vegeta are, and while they believe that Granolah is stronger than each one individually, together Granolah should not stand a chance against the combined forces of Goku and Vegeta. So they are going to pit those two up. Now, Granolah from previous chapters does have a grudge against the Saiyans, because they were Frieza's right-handed henchmen that destroyed Granolah, or Granolah Planet Cereal. So that's where that part of the plot will come. And then the very last pan here shows all three, Granolah, Goku, and Vegeta. And the caption says, at last, fate will bring these three together. And then next chapter hits April 20th. And that's how the chapter ends.
Thank you. Let's swoop back to, I guess we'll just do it by sections. Pretty cool.
Yeah, let's hop back right at the very beginning here. So we have the wish, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the wish, the original wish of just being the strongest that he can be, and the dragon can't make him stronger than everyone, because is, the height of his potential is just not strong enough. Right? So that part kind of self-explanatory, and then the conditions made.
Yeah.
But I think where we should probably start is the section with Vegeta and Goku.
Okay. Let's start there. The only thing I was going to say about the wish is that I'm glad the dragon cleared that up, that he can't make him stronger than the gods. Because I know our last episode, we were starting to freak out thinking that he was about to become out here stronger than like Whis and all of them. But I'm glad that they cleared that up. So let's go to Vegeta and Goku, and we see Vegeta still learning the Hakai and Beerus explaining it like you said, and then Goku's like, nah, I'm gonna do things my way, and he could do things his way. And I mean, I think the only thing with me here and Vegeta, I guess learning Hakai with that small little pebble, is the same problem kind of we had with MUI. Like these are supposed to be like the S-class moves, Hakai and Ultra Instinct, and Goku and Vegeta are learning them at rapid paces. So I think that was my only problem with that. How about you?
Yeah, it's they're just accelerating some of these moments, I guess, just for a story plot. Maybe in the anime they'll stretch this stuff out across a couple episodes with some filler. But yeah, it's like, I mean, at least we're seeing Vegeta learn, Hakai and train with it. I mean, we had no idea how the hell Goku learned Hakai whenever he did that against Zamasu. I mean, it was just kind of out of nowhere. So at least we see some training here. But I like how much emphasis they put on Vegeta here and Beerus' dialogue that, all you did was break it with your ki blast when Vegeta was first trying to destroy it. And then Beerus explains what Hakaiing actually does and that it causes an explosion. Even though we've never seen an explosion of stuff that was Hakkai'd in the past. But maybe I forget, but I don't remember stuff being blown up. But hey, everything sort of changes, so.
Right. And then you go to Granolah with his fake Super Saiyan 3 look, and then he just picks up a big boulder, and it literally says, it looks like an explosion. Like he said, the boulder exploded. So it appears that he just instantly learned Hakai, don't you think?
Yes. So earlier this week, when they released some of the spoilers, they had shown the panels of Vegeta learning to Hakai, and then they showed only the panel, the page, I think page 10. All they show is page 10, and that is Granolah with his Super Saiyan 3 look, and he's picking up the rock, right? And I had tweeted out that Granolah must have learned Hakai from gaining all these powers from the wish. And I'm almost convinced, actually, I'm going to say I am convinced that he is, because on page 11, that rock explodes and it causes a huge shockwave. I mean, the previous page 8, shows that Vegeta will take a tiny pebble, Hakai it, and then there's a big explosion, and that's what Beerus is talking about, is that explosions are the thing about using destruction. They're the highlight of it, he says. It never gets old. And what the icing on the cake is that Granolah is confused as to what he did. He said, in a surprise manner, the boulder exploded. Well, what technique was that? And that's the thing, is that one of the people I had a discussion with on Twitter was that they said that he just lifted it and he's just learning how to use his ki energy, his newly found ki energy, to disintegrate a rock. And I said to myself, and I said to him, that it doesn't make sense. Granolah knows how to use ki energy. That's not something that's foreign to him. He uses he takes his 2 fingers and he just blasts everybody with them. So he knows ki. That's not something unbeknownst to him. But Hakkaiing would definitely be that something that would completely shock him that he would learn. And if we're looking at how this arc is structured in terms of a story standpoint, if that is not the case, then there's no reason for this chapter to be laid out the way it is. We're jumping back and forth between Vegeta and Beerus learning Hakkai. Beerus is explaining these little tidbits about it, and then Granolah literally does that in the next panel. So this is not just a storytelling. This is actually Toritaro and Toriyama telling you, in my eyes, that he just learned Hakkai without actually bluntly saying he learned Hakkai. And if I turn out to be wrong on that, that's fine. We're all wrong on some predictions, and we have hopes as to where we want chapters and arcs to go. But if that's wrong, then I don't know what to think about the writing, because like you you, you fed me this the way you wanted it, and then you didn't. It'd be like you find you get a cook serves you a steak. It looks good on the outside, but you asked for like medium rare, and you got well. It's just the inside, it's just not. It's not what it's supposed to be. So I hope, I pray that he knows how to Hakkai, because at the end here, whenever we give some predictions, I have some bold ones. But if not, then it's just a waste of time, like some of the stuff that they've done in other chapters. But so do you agree? Do you think it was Hakkai or no?
I agree. I agree. Just because they talked about an explosion, that was an explosion, and that woke the Namekian up. And I guess the only reason I think he just randomly learned Hakkai is that the wish was to make him the strongest mortal at that point, and maybe just because at this point Vegeta just learned Hakkai, so obviously you have to be able to Hakkai better than Vegeta. So I think that maybe that's something, I don't know, because then we haven't seen him do like MUI out of nowhere. Now, if he does that in the next chapter, then I think my prediction is like, okay, these two are the strongest mortals right now, Goku and Vegeta. What are their moves? We have to make sure your moves are significantly better. And the only thing that I have left on this part is that anytime Whis says something could be troublesome, it's going to be troublesome. Because like Whis was following him in his Granolah on the ship, getting his hair cut, and he's like, oh, this could cause a problem. So seeing Whis say that just amplifies how much stronger Granolah's gotten.
Yeah, most definitely. And you mentioned a thing that and this is going to segue into us discussing this second part here, is that if Granolah has learned Hakkai, could he learn Ultra Instinct? Mm-hmm. Now, I would like to say no to that, but here's the thing: is that Hakkai was always supposed to be a divine power.
Yeah.
And that you need a divine energy to do that kind of stuff. But that's kind of been shown to not necessarily be the case. You don't necessarily need energy of destruction to Hakkai stuff. So it's kind of conflicting, but hey, we got to deal with what they present to us. So if learning to Hakkai is not necessarily like a divine power and that mortals can learn it, then is Ultra Instinct still something of like a divine origin? Because at first we were kind of taught that, according to Whis, that it was not. And that, yes, it's divine energy, but really anyone could learn it. And now in the moral arc, we were led on to that you need to have divine energy for Ultra Instinct. That's how Goku got his Mastered Ultra Instinct back after it was depleted. And then we're kind of like, okay, so who knows what really is truth whenever it comes to Ultra Instinct. But now whenever it comes with Granolah, he has to fight Oil, right? Now he's significantly stronger than Oil, probably. I don't think Oil is anything of a threat, but he's dodging his attacks, and he's just kind of toying around with them and beating them up. Is Granolah demonstrating Ultra Instinct right now against Oil? I don't believe so, but I don't have any. I don't have any solid evidence either way to show if Granolah is using Ultra Instinct, knows Ultra Instinct now, or I don't know. So
the only thing I would say on that is just on page 26, where they're like, "What the heck? How's he dodging every blow?" That was the exact words. Typically, in recent memory, when they say something like that, we think of UI, and then with UI, with the battle, if it's the divine or is it not? I think it depends on what source material you're seeing. Because remember, Tournament of Power, before Goku goes MUI, Master Roshi is showing his own type of dodging, like the concept of Ultra Instinct against Jiren. And if anyone who didn't read the manga, yes, Master Roshi was dodging Jiren's punches. Just if you haven't read that, go back. It's completely different than the anime. So just to go on that, we're talking about part 2 now with Granolah demonstrating his powers. He obviously needs the Heeters because he could have just Hakai'd this dude. Like he could have just Hakai'd them all, but he didn't. He just wants to know where Frieza's at. And I remember talking to you before recording. You want to see Gas fight because Gas looks like he can go.
Oh yeah, Gas looks like a tank. And whenever I say a tank, I'm not talking about typical. This person's huge. I mean, Gas looks like just straight up mercenary, like just ready to. Like if you were not to think of the terrible power scaling that has plagued the Dragon Ball franchise for a long time, you would look at Gas and you would be like, okay, what I have been shown right now is that you are a significant threat. But do I think if Gas shows up right now versus Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Majin Buu, I don't think Gas is, doing anything against those guys. But there has to be something that is coming up with Gas later on, and we'll just have to wait and find out. But and the thing is though, it's because Gas gives off this aura of toughness or whatnot. Gas is a henchman to Alec. So I'm like, how is Alec strong? Is Alec stronger? Does Alec just know how to play the game? Why is Alec in charge then? And we'll just have to wait and see on that. So it's definitely interesting. And then to learn about the few things the wish, the condition of the wish, it makes that dragon unique. Because what we have discussed on previous podcasts is that we love in GT the Shadow Dragon arc, right? Because we love the negative consequences of using Dragon Balls. And that's not canon since there's no manga to it. Personally, as I've stated on a previous podcast, if Toriyama's name is any sort of attached to it and you pay money in some way, shape, or form to view it, you can treat it as canon if you want. That's just my 2 cents, but I know not many people will share that agreement with me. But regardless, this set of Dragon Balls, the two set, has a negative consequence, and that is his life is shortened by a ton, which is great. It's great because it just there's finally a negative side effect.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, again, consequences on why you're making the wish, and we talk about Elect if we don't know if he's stronger than Gas, if he's weaker than Gas, and all these things like that. But you could tell this guy's the leader because he knew the right questions to ask Granolah. He's like, all right, you're not going to tell us how you got strong. Then what's the point of, like you screw it up? And then he's like, I used the Dragon Balls. He's like, do it. And like talking, and then he gets him to confess like that there's a lifespan thing, like he only has 3 years left. So in Dragon Ball terms, it's probably going to be like 100 chapters. So the guy knows how to lead and get the right questions. And then obviously when Granolah leaves and they're talking about like what's the next plan, he's already devised like we can't kill him because he'll be the boss. Well, we can't let him kill Frieza because then Granolah will be the boss of Frieza's army. Our main goal is to be in charge of Frieza's army, but we can't have Granolah around. So we got to take him out, and we're going to use the Saiyan. So there we go, going back to the first chapters of this arc, saying, let's use the information we know. And he said that if we pair him, even if he's stronger than both of them individually, if we get them together, he should be able to lose. So then Granolah's out. And apparently, if they think that Granolah is going to be taken out by Goku and Vegeta, and they want to take over Frieza's thing, now they've confirmed that the Dragon Balls can do crazy wishes. They're kind of a threat. I feel like they're going to be the final bad guys in this when this is all said and done.
Yes, I agree. I don't think Granolah will be the final villain, or at least not the most threatening villain in this entire arc. It's definitely going to be the Heeters. Now, remember, they still are going to go to Zuno, get all the information that they were talking about in the previous chapters. They're going to find a set of Dragon Balls and make a wish of some sort. Maybe it will even be the Super Dragon Balls, and we'll see what they do with that. But they have the workings to make this one of the greatest arcs out there. And like as you've been stating, is that they're smart. So this will show the viewers, the fans, that power is not going to be the end all that has been given to us in the past. So it's not going to be who gets stronger, who punches harder. And with the previous arc with Moro, we started to get that, right? We had Moro uses magic, and he gains upper hand by draining your life force. Okay, Master Ultra Instinct is what is needed to defeat him, and they kind of deviated from that. Okay, cool. But they're using Dragon Balls to cover the gaps. They're getting smart and intelligent, planning, strategically thinking of how to one-up the Z fighters without going head-to-head against them. So it is fresh. It's great. And they're doing a pretty good job at the ideas in which they are now finally churning out. Can't believe it's taken a few years to start thinking like this. Hey, I won't complain any more than that because it's always better late than never. Now there was one thing that I wanted to mention though. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I'll have to come back to that.
On that last page, you just want to bring up to how they say that last page will bring these three together. As soon as I read that, I instantly got flashbacks to the Dragon Ball Super Broly promotions. Because remember, they were saying the same thing about Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. At last, Fate brought those three together. I felt like it was the same promotional thing.
Yeah, most definitely is. And, sometimes I just do a copy and paste kind of deal there. But, well, I would like it if they actually got Broly involved too. But, who knows what else.
Mitch, that's actually a very good point because we've been talking about, well, obviously with like MUI and now Hakai stuff about the strongest mortal, but before Moro and without Fusion, MUI, or anything like that, Broly was the strongest mortal. I mean, uncontrolled, but he was the strongest.
Yep, absolutely. And who knows where he's actually at right now? I mean, I would think that after the Moro arc, that he would be the second strongest mortal, like just straight up after Goku now. Mm-hmm. I would assume he would still stomp Vegeta until Vegeta learns how to Hakai here. Then, it's kind of like who can Hakai who. But
it's funny you said that because remember in the movie, Vegeta had the better one-on-one fight against Broly.
about time. He kept getting stomped in every fight that he ever fought in. I'm like about time they gave him some, like some good light to shine on.
That was one of my favorite parts of that movie, but I digress. So back to this chapter and like our predictions going forward. I think because he's going to try and they're talking about fate meeting them, which we're going to have to figure out how that works because they're on Beerus's planet now, and I don't know if this guy has the means to get to Beerus's planet. But for Elect to really like push me to like he's a boss, bad leader, that if he tells them, he's like, oh, if you want to hurt some Saiyans, like go to Earth, start blowing stuff up, they'll instantly appear. We learned that from 7-3. I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, most definitely. Or Elec can be like, hey, we can go over to Zuno and learn where everyone is, and you can just start your revenge tour. So yeah, either go to Earth, which is probably what would happen, just because they already have that information from 7-3, and I don't know if they would really want to tell Granolah of Zuno. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it could also be that. But I'm just now waiting for Granolah to find out that the Heeters were involved with the destruction of his planet at the hands of Frieza. Because that's going to be some juicy drama that will come up, in which part of me thinks that has the seeds to make Granolah a protagonist. Because I mean, the guy is not. He's not like Baby. Baby wanted revenge against the Saiyans, but he just wanted to take over everything. He had a grudge against humans, and they didn't do a damn thing. Granolah here doesn't come across as he is just trying to control everyone, kill everyone. All he wants to do is get revenge and go to bed at night. He treats the people, the Sugarians, he treats them good with respect. I mean, he pays for his stuff. He could literally go in there and steal all of their merchandise, but he's a normal civilian. Just he wants revenge. So it's like he's actually going to be an antagonist at the end of all of this. And now we're trying to predict who's going to die at the end of this arc. Who of these new characters is going to be dead? And Granolah has a feud with Frieza.
Yep.
So it's as you asked me earlier, who at the end of the arc, Granolah and Frieza cannot be, unless a huge plot twist comes around and that Granolah takes all of his pent up revenge and directs it towards the Heeters instead of Frieza or the Saiyans. You can't expect Frieza and Granolah to both be, still alive at the end of all this. And I don't think so. So in my eyes, Granolah has to be the one that dies, because I can't imagine that we would get rid of Frieza.
Unless it's finally time
to bring back to retcon GT.
Yeah, to get rid and to get rid of Frieza, because I know when you were talking about the predictions and stuff, I was like, well, yeah, Frieza's got to go too, because I find it funny how in the third or fourth chapter of this new like season that he's gonna go see Goku and Vegeta, but are we gonna probably have to wait like 20 manga chapters before he's finally face to face with Frieza?
I think it's funny that we have not even seen Frieza. We haven't gotten a single panel of just Frieza just, doing anything. So it's like, is he going to be a part of this? We keep talking about him, but we haven't even shown what he's doing. So we'll find out about that. But to the viewers, you might have heard what I said there about retconning GT. I've always said that I would love it if they redid GT, because the story plots for that are just phenomenal. And I mean, GT takes place after Z, and Super here is in between the events of Boo and then the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament, which I'm about to mention here in about 30 seconds. If we want to, try to course correct everything, Frieza needs to be dead before the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament, and maybe Granolah is the one that kills him. I don't think so, but I mean, if you try to line up the stars.
If I remember correctly, though, after the Well, we know what Frieza's doing. Frieza's trying to make another mechanism to control Broly because that was his end goal at the end of the movie.
That is true. Yeah, we'll see what he's doing there. I mean, who knows what they're doing now? We haven't seen about Broly. There hasn't been a mention of Broly since the beginning of the Moro arc, and we haven't seen Frieza since the Broly movie, except for that. I think it was a kind of a joke, like chapter, like arc chapter, where they just showed Frieza saying that like they're just trying to avoid Earth, while Moro was doing his thing.
You've already gone to mention too that you're already thinking that Granola's going to show up. He's about to stomp MUI Goku, which that's going to cause a storm.
Well, I think, and this is why they kept drilling this into our heads in this chapter. Granolah knows how to Hakai. If Granolah doesn't know Mastered Ultra Instinct, then he's not competing against Goku. As we stated, it doesn't matter how strong someone is. If you know Mastered Ultra Instinct, you're not getting touched.
Unless you're Jiren.
Unless you're Jiren. But like, we had Moro absorb the power of an angel and Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku at its lowest tier beat him. We're talking about angel powers. Goku defeated an enemy with angel powers. So Granolah, there's no way in hell all of Granola's power can equate to an angel, right? So the only thing I can think of, and this is where that bold prediction comes in, Granolah has to set a tone for this arc, and I think he's going to Hakai Goku. Because I mean, that's the way to make the playing field level. And now, to someone who might be listening, they might think that's crazy. But let me tell you, let's talk about another part of this arc that they've already hinted at that would be the motive for Granolah to Hakai Goku. And that is in the first chapter that we ever saw Granolah whenever he was sleeping and he had the nightmare of what occurred on his planet. Remember whenever he ran into the church to get away from the great apes, and then the great ape appeared through the hole in the ceiling, and it appeared that it had Bardock's scar on the side of his face. So then, think about, we didn't see, because he woke up from that nightmare, right? What if Granolah was the one who killed Bardock was the one who killed his family? And then the full moon disappeared or whatever, and Bardock transformed back into his humanoid form. Granolah, in the rubble of that church, sees what Bardock looks like, and then he sees Goku, and then he is in a fit of rage. And then he Hakai's him.
Yeah, and we've seen, not Goku getting Hakai, but we've seen that type of thing before. Just go back to Goku Black arc when Trunks comes back to the present. As soon as he sees Goku, he thinks he's Goku Black and he's going to try and kill him.
Yeah.
We've seen also, if you remember in Dragon Ball Z, when Frieza first fought Goku, Frieza was saying that he looks familiar and was having flashbacks of his Goku's dad.
Yeah.
So we've seen this before. Shoot, if Frieza got involved too, he could be like, well, before we fight, remember, you see that Saiyan who looks like that's the son of the person who killed your family and all that stuff. So before you fight me, why don't you kill him? So then Frieza's using Granolah to kill Goku because that's one of Frieza's goals. And everyone's playing integral pieces of chess with Granolah as their top piece, trying to take out a group that they don't like, which I actually kind of like.
Yeah, it is very interesting. A whole bunch of manipulation is what this is going to come down to, and I pray that there is an actual death erasing of a protagonist, and Goku would come back at the end of the arc, right? I mean, somebody would have to bring him back with Dragon Balls, whatever it might be. If the Super Dragon Balls can bring back all these erased universes of the tournament power, they can bring back Goku. So that my prediction is not just out of left field. Let's see what happens. There's an end to it, but that would stick it that would stick this arc out way more already than what it is compared to all these other arcs, because this arc has the most world building already than most of these other arcs have had combined during their entire run. We see more of Granolah and the Heeters in this arc than we have seen Goku and Vegeta. And we're talking about a Dragon Ball manga, you know, and it's good. It's good. And but yeah, this arc, a death of Goku and Vegeta would be, I mean, it'd go back to Z. You know, what made the Namek or the Saiyan saga so good was, you know, Goku got killed, then had to go and train with, you know, King Kai, and then Vegeta and Nappa arrive. They screw up the Z fighters. Goku wins. Goku and Frieza. I mean, it takes Goku forever to get there, so he might not be dead, but he was absent. Made for a pretty good arc, and you know, just when Vegeta, think about like when we were watching the Buu arc, right? And Vegeta dies trying to kill Buu. Goku has to go back to the other world, and we're wondering what the hell are we going to do? You know, that made good storylines. So if Goku's out of this arc for a decent amount of time, then you know Vegeta's going to have to play hero, or new heroes will emerge, or plot twists will come around, and yeah, I pray so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know if he's gonna get full Hokkai die. I don't see that because I just don't see it now. I see him getting stomped. Maybe he doesn't use MUI because Goku's one of those people like, I don't want to use MUI until I get to like MUI level 2 or Master MUI level 1 or something like that. Unfortunately, if this goes back to status quo, Vegeta's gonna rush in against Granolah, try and do Hokkai, not gonna work initially, get stomped, then Goku hops in, and then that doesn't work, Granolah leave, blah blah. The usual stuff that may not happen. But when you talk about impact, it makes me go back to the Moro arc. And if you remember that chapter, that specific picture right before Beerus comes, and it has all of the Z fighters down after like Moro stabbed Goku in the chest, and we were like, "Oh my God, is Goku dead?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then and that's actually one of my favorite pictures of that entire arc because they each, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, 17, 18, each have a panel where they're all down, and you're just like, oh, we're flirting in the we're gonna lose territory, and then an Angel Beerus shows up, and to bring back like a protagonist's death. Yeah, I agree because I know I was not a fan of Beerus coming back, sacrificing his life for Goku, and then you were just like, oh, we just brought him back without the angel powers. They should have kept him dead to weigh the burden more on Goku, so he learned some things. So hopefully they don't do that again. That's not what I want to see. But yeah, the biggest thing is, however long this is, a year, 2 years, someone's got to go.
Yeah.
Granolah, Frieza, both, Heeters, a combination of those. Somebody's got to go.
Well, Granolah has to kill someone. In my eyes, he has to kill either Frieza, Goku, or Vegeta. Because if you made a wish to reduce your life from 150 years remaining to 3 because you wanted revenge, if all you do is beat people up, is that really revenge? Like, this ain't backyard, like, or like, you know, playground at the school bullying, you know, getting revenge on. I mean, he is hell bent on killing people who ruined his life, that he shaved off 147 years of his life. Like, we're talking about, like, I'm trying to do quick math here. We're talking about, like, you know, 90, like, like 98% of his life he got rid of for this opportunity. And it's like, if all he does is beat him up and then leave, I'm like, it's not really revenge, man. Apparently you really aren't, like, your nightmares are not bothering you that much.
Speaking of revenge, I want to go back to my Elect thing about him sending to Earth. We're talking about Goku and Vegeta like they're the only Saiyans. But how about if we get Goku and Vegeta super invested in this because Granolah goes and kills their son? Because they are Saiyans. that's how you get Goku and Vegeta super invested.
Oh, absolutely.
Because now they revenge on that guy. And then you have this whole triangle of like, oh boy, now we're in for some action. Because I mean, there's Gohan, there's Goten, there's Trunks, there's Pan, there's like what 4 or 5 Saiyans just on Earth alone related to those two. So if you go there, and could you imagine if like Goku Vegeta showed up late and they saw like Gohan get Hakai after like Trunks and Goten are dead? Oh my god.
Well, it would probably be Gohan because I wouldn't know how Granolah would know about Trunks or Goten because they weren't involved in the Moro arc. Therefore, 7-3 would not have known of their existence. But Gohan, you make a good point of. If Gohan went and got Hakai, well, you got Goku involved, and then you would just have to figure out how to get, Beerus or Vegeta involved. But yeah, that'd be definitely a good motivator. There's one other thing that I want to ask is, so I looked this up after I read it somewhere. This arc takes place. The age is 780, right? And the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament happens in 784. I looked up. So if Granolah lives and the day he dies, then there's only 1 year left before the tournament, the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament. Is this?
Ooh, that's a good catch. That's a good catch.
Is this going to be the last arc before we converge to Z, and then whatever happens after that?
That has to be, because first off, that's a real good catch on you. I wonder if that was a little sneak thing that people aren't catching, because I'm not seeing anyone else bring that up, because that would only give them 1 year until Oob, and Oob's already of like that type of age and height where he was when Goku and him fought at the tournament. So, dude, that's a real good catch. It has to be. This has to be the last one.
Yep. If Granolah lives, this has to be the last arc before the end of Z. If he dies, then it's like 3 years is 3 years. But oh well.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to really. Oof. That is a real freaking. That's where you're the expert. That is a real catch on you.
Well, it's easy to throw these ideas off. Stuff starts bouncing and then bam, things start clicking. So.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. Like, this one answered some of our questions from last month, and it dropped early. So I'm really excited for what's about to happen next month on April 20th. Mish, do you have anything else you want to say before we sign out?
Nope, that's it. That's for me. I think Cooper, I think I already hear him popping in the Dragon Ball Z disc. So I got to see what chapter, what disc he's already in, if he's on a disc a night or not. So we'll find out. He turns 1 month in 2 days on the 20th. So time flies, man.
It's actually going to be kind of crazy going forward through like the months and the year, because every time we record a manga chapter will be around his birthday.
Yeah, that's go figures. That's how it would be. I'm going to have to try to celebrate his birthday while sneaking in a podcast.
That is hilarious. The only things I have left is just a quick thing. Obviously, Dragon Ball had their game thing a couple weeks ago and introduced like all the new content for all their new games, which was super successful. I'm hoping that that's how they finally announce a new movie or a new anime. They have that official Dragon Ball site now, so I'm really hoping, because they have just like a day like, hey, we're having interviews with the voice actors, blah blah blah. Show trailer for the movie, show trailer for the Moro arc, and just set this thing ablaze, and then have us doing emergency podcasts when they drop those.
I think the one thing I want to know is when the day comes and the anime kicks back up, is it just going to be on cable television, or is it going to be on one of these streaming services?
Well, obviously, first it'll have to be on Crunchyroll, because they'll get those out. I mean, they're in Japan, so they'll get them out. But when it comes to the U.S., that's a...
I mean, you can watch Super on Hulu right now.
Yeah, and it was on Adult Swim when it was coming out, like live for America. So that's a good question. We're gonna have to really wait and see on that. But besides that, happy Saiyan Day, everyone. Thank you, Mitch, for being on the L7C podcast as always. Now I'm going to have to say thank you, Cooper, for not having to have Mitch get up during the podcast.
My wife's probably going crazy. I gotta go save the day, so.
Less editing for our guy, Justin. But thank you, everyone, for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe on anywhere you listen. And you guys
have a good one.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.